Global warming and extinction of species. Yes, 2016. Well, it would be probably impolite. Well, I'll be impolite. I'll start um, with again saying that nothing has been done. Uh, to help the refugees who are suffering. People are being killed and tortured and raped on daily basis in most parts of our world. Yippee. But now then, after this impoliteness, yes, the US presidential election. As always, one's heart does go out to, for example, all the Hillary bots who think that the world has come to an end. It hasn't. But I'm so sorry for, for the panic you're feeling. Now, I personally, I was absolutely convinced that Trump did not have enough power. Voter fraud, election fraud, unworking democracy. These things are the everyday life of the United States. It's a democracy only in its speech and in its propaganda. And I really thought that Trump did not have enough establishment support to combat Hillary Clinton in this corruption of democracy. But it seems that he did. Cool, in a sense. I mean, nice that it is possible. And of course, the people he will be bringing into government are going to be deplorable. But again, to think that it would have been much better with Hillary Clinton is complete idiocy. Again, you have no proof of that. Now, my personal, of course, why I'm overall doing this is because I have a slight worry about the stupidity of it all. I guess that my two favorite people to listen to from the United States, from everyday life, not geopolitics. I'm not really all that interested in geopolitics. I'm a humanitarian. I'm interested in absolutely everybody in the world not being, killed, murdered, raped, in pain, whatever. That's what I'm interested in. Nothing else. So, from a humanistic point of view, I guess the two people that one most likes to hear from in the United States at the moment are Jimmy Dore and Lee Camp. Lee Camp and his bunch for pointing out how how badly everything actually works. And Jimmy Dore for calling, for progressive revolution. I would like to hope, again, as a humanitarian, I would love to see that progressive revolution. And again, I'm so glad that nobody is going to see this, because I do not want to discourage anyone. It would be absolutely imperative. And when we talk about stupidity, I mean, come on. You know, if you hadn't been stupid, you could have Bernie Sanders as president. Oh, Lord Almighty. And again, that's just a figure of speech. Nobody up there. Nobody down there. But then, you know, again, I'm so glad that nobody is going to see this, because I personally, I'm afraid that absolutely nothing is going to happen. I think it's amusing. Again, people have, even the cleverer people, they've seemed to taken it. They've seemed to say that, you know, they've seemed to see that they think they've seen that the again, the corporate media in the United States, that they're absolutely shocked that Trump won. I can't see that. You know, if you're shocked, I watched the Young Turks coverage, of course, but I mean, I took a peek at every other U.S. major network during the election, and the reaction they had, even, you know, the most progressive, you know, mainstream journalists, some of who are part of the LGBT community, the reaction they had, that wasn't shock. That was fake shock, and everything has been completely fake. And that's, you know, that's my worry. I mean, I've seen. Again, I've seen them all. I've actually seen both Cenk Uygur and Sargon of Akkad at one point now saying that the media, the corporate media, that they should really now look into themselves, you know, see and try and figure out why they were so wrong. Why? That's what I don't understand. Is why should anyone imagine that the corporate media would be looking? They couldn't give a toss. You know, in reality, as in essence, they don't give a toss whether they were right or wrong. If they were right, they would go, oh, we're right, we were right, we were right. If they were wrong, they would say, oh, how could we get this so wrong? What happened? And again, you know, the polls were wrong. What? If you're polling likely voters, the polls are going to be wrong. There's nothing miraculous about that. The polls, what was wrong with the polls? What happened? Blah, 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 blah. It's a soap opera. It doesn't matter whether the drama is that we were very right or that we were very wrong, or even somewhere in between. You know, we can make a story, one heroic story here, one dreadful story there. It's all about the show. It's all about the entertainment. They're all millionaires and living comfortable lives, most in the Washington or New York bubble. They couldn't give a toss. If you don't care one bit, why would you, you know, do some self-searching? I mean, there's no point. And again, Obama got absolutely nothing done, while he could have. Except, of course, he made legal, you know, some of the things that Bush George W. Bush couldn't get through. Bill Clinton was a continuation of Ronald Reagan. I mean, he was an absolutely awful president. It doesn't matter whether you're Democrat or Republican, you're gonna get shite, and that's it. It's all one big show. It's the Republicans are the bad cop, and Democrats are the good cop. And it's one big show while everybody works for the giant corporations. The play, for the last 8 years, the play was you have this decent, heroic minority representing president who was the hero, and then you had the whole Senate filled with villains who didn't allow him to do anything, even though originally he actually had a majority and didn't get anything done. They call it Obamacare. It's not. It's a Nixon care minus. It's not Obamacare. I mean, that's ridiculous. Now, for the next 4 years at least, you have a different play of 2 years. It's possible, of course, but still, you have a different play. You have a total monster here, and then you have some brave here and there, some brave rebels fighting against him. It's a show. First, you had a big episode of we get nothing done. Nothing is getting done. Now you have a big show of, horrible things are done, and all the time actually same things are done. Most things are, nothing happens with most things, and whatever happens, it makes a life easier for billionaires and giant corporations. Those are the only things that really happen. If you have any progress anywhere, which is a funny word considering, again, that half of the country lives in poverty, you have the greatest prison population in the world. Most of them didn't do anything, and they're used for slave labor, and it's the greatest surveillance state that the world has ever seen. That tortures. I don't. But if there is any small progress somewhere, it's simply because accidentally, through some accident, it may be just a film, maybe a TV series, because of some accident, the majority of ordinary people are actually behind some progressive idea, and they actually cannot hold it back anymore. But otherwise, it's just business as usual. Either you have a good guy who can't get anything done, who says that we should do this, but I can't. Or you have a bad guy, who says, I don't believe in this, so we don't do it. Anyway, the end result is exactly the same. They're not doing anything. Okay, so why? What? Stupidity. What I'm saying is, I'm so afraid that we halfway have this already in Europe, or we already have it completely. To me, what most of the things that are written, for example, about the United States, is a complete lie. And it can be because the system is being protected, and giant corporations and the billionaire class are being protected. And that's my worry. I'm again, I probably have to do part 2 at some point. I don't yet know exactly how stupid are Europeans